You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Saving lives by selling collars, scrunchies, and swag. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That's BARKNWAG.com to see the awesome merchandise. Bark and Wag collars and leashes, collar covers, and decorative bandanas are perfect for your pooch. For the owner of the house, we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts, hats, and even coasters. We are expanding monthly, so be sure to check back. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise too, so send an email to polly@barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to Lisa, owner of Animal Lovers Pet Store in Breckenridge, Colorado. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks, Polly, for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to talk about CBD. So I understand you sell CBD treats for animals, and I was wondering if you could inform our listeners on what CBD is versus THC.
Absolutely. I get asked this question often, and essentially CBD is classified as CBD because it contains less than 0.3% THC inside of it. So CBD is just short for cannabidiol. It's naturally occurring cannabinoid consistent with cannabis. So all cannabis has THC in it, but legally when it contains 0.3% THC or less, then it's classified as hemp or a CBD product.
Okay. And so how do you give CBD to your pets?
So there's a couple different ways to administer CBDs to pets, and mainly treats are the introductory course for most pet owners out there because it's an easy way to administer it. They come in a couple different dosage levels, so you can really test out CBD easily that way. Now, there's also CBD oil, and a lot of people choose to go the oil route after experimenting a little while with the treats, mainly because you not only can really hone in that dosing, but it's also a lot faster in acting, and for a lot of big dogs, just more cost effective.
And so when you give CBD oil to your dog, it's a dropper, correct?
That's correct. It's always going to be in a dropper. Some are going to be done by a full dropper, meaning that full vial or even that half a vial will be the administered dosage, while others will be more by drop. And you really have to pay close attention to the packaging so that you are giving your dog the right dose once you've figured out that dosage amount.
Okay. And so I've been giving Chuck the pug, who he's been sick for a while, CBD, and it really is kind of a miracle drug, I do have to say, because he has trouble breathing, and it's really made him relax, and I think it helps with inflammation. The people that come into your store, what are they using CBD for?
100% inflammation is a great reason to be using CBD. It is probably the main reason that older dog owners are using CBD with their dogs, because it really helps with it, and also just mobility, because of that reduced inflammation. There is also going to be help with anxiety for younger dogs. It's going to be a much smaller dosage for anxiety. I always let people know microdosing is the way to go for that, but you can definitely see drastic improvement with that anxiety. Also going to be, besides pain, which is, such a common reason, there's also going to be really strange ones like seizures. There's going to be help with cancer-fighting properties, arthritis, absolutely, because arthritis is linked to inflammation.
Okay.
It's definitely hand in hand there. And, when you're dealing with something like that, CBD is a great cannon in your arsenal. But there are a lot of other holistic properties that, coupled with CBD, can make drastic improvements.
And are there different doses, or how do you know?
100% different doses for different reasons. Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes you can get good advice from your vets, and dosage is always dependent not only on why you're dosing your dog, but also size of your dog. So obviously, Chuck the pug is not going to be getting the same dosage as my dog June, because June is about 3 times his size.
Sure.
And, towards the end of life stages, a lot of people tend to dose on a heavier scale because there are a lot of issues that can arise, and they find, and not only does it help soothe dogs through night terrors and seizures, as I mentioned before, but also, strange anxieties that blind dogs can have because they don't know what's going on, or deaf dogs. And also just like overall pain from organ failure, liver issues. And it's definitely going to be at a much higher dose than what you would be normally dosing your dog. Because, really at that stage, it's about sleep.
Or like palliative care.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to get the dog as comfortable as possible, is sometimes why people administer it. I know I had dogs before, mainly small dogs, that towards the end of the life, throughout their life had been given like around 3 to 4 milligrams, but towards the end of their life, it was up to like 12 milligrams.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's pretty common, but that's going to be like end of life stage type of thing.
Okay.
But the thing about CBD is we are the trial generation of it. So it really comes down to experimenting with dosage and knowing how to recognize in your dog what signs are too much. And that's normally sleeping. With anxiety dogs, it can be heightened anxiety. I never dose a dog during an anxiety attack because it will heighten anxiety. That's just from experience from a lot of pet owners. I've only met a handful who say that that's not the case for their dogs.
Okay.
And like a microdosing is going to be 2 to 4 milligrams for a small to medium sized dog. Like the small dog would definitely be 2 milligrams all up for the full day. So 1 milligram in the morning, 1 milligram at night would be fine. That's the best way to microdose it, is to actually spread it out. And if you can do 3 times a day, that's great. But in a fast-paced society, it's just easiest to do it once a day. And when you're doing a microdosing, the cookies are definitely an easy way and still an affordable way to do it, where you can break up the cookies into 1 milligram, or a couple companies do make 1 milligram dose cookies, and it's an easy way to administer it. What I will say about cookies, though, is like before, they tend to have less potency than the oil, which is why a lot of dog owners do steer towards the oil after a while. Okay.
And have you noticed, especially coming from Breckenridge, Colorado, where marijuana is legal, do you find that vets are embracing this or not really?
I am fortunate, and my vet embraced it without me even feeling like I had to coerce her. But I know that a lot of vets are definitely welcoming the conversation. They don't all agree with it, but because we do live in such a positive state, they encounter the question almost on a daily basis, I'm sure.
Sure, right.
So they are definitely open to the conversation.
Right. And our other dog, which I don't know if you heard that podcast, she actually got into pot on a hiking trail. And we didn't know it, and I thought she was dying.
Oh, yeah. The scary...
And the vet said, your dog's just really stoned.
Right. And this is going to last a while.
Exactly. So put on some Led Zeppelin and...
leave her outside for a couple days.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's very interesting, and I'm sure as there's more information out from, scientists, and we'll see more of CBD. I can guarantee it. Just on what I've seen with Chuck, it's been great.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the great thing about this product is everybody has really a positive review. I have not met a single person who has not experienced something positive from using CBD. Even with dog owners that have encountered issues with anxiety, they still will use it. They just know better now. And my best recommendation in regards to this is talk to your friends and family, and you might be surprised at who else is using it with their dogs, because there are a lot of people out there that have seen a great improvement from it.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, and we look forward to having you back.
Yeah, I can't wait to be back. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.